to Tendercare Junior Academy. My name is Chloe Kimani and I will be your host for today. Let's start by talking about the school's history. Tendercare Junior Academy was established in the year 1996 by our directors, Mr. Kahoro and Madam Ruth. We have 5 branches, 4 in Komarok and 1 in Umoja. Our school Tendercare is growing so much. We have the playgroup classes, lower primary and upper primary. The first class A's to start their KCPE exam was in the year 2006. Today we are in Tendercare Phase 4 school to talk about the clubs and activities. The different types of clubs and activities are cooking club, skating club, martial arts, music, science and ballet. Now that we've heard about the clubs, let's get to story time.
Hi kids, welcome to another episode of Story Time. My name is Lynette Ngare and I am your storyteller today. So, the story is called The Fisherman and the Princess Fish. Do you remember that we read a story about a fisherman and a magic fish? Well, the interesting thing about today's story is that it's African based and I love African stories. So let's start. Once upon a time, there was a fisherman who lived in a far, far away land. His name was Juma and he was a very poor fisherman. He lived with his pregnant wife in a small hut and he was friends to everyone in the village. One very early morning, Juma set out to the village river as usual. It was just a normal day like every other day, and a few other people had also started their day. He met some night hunters returning back home and they exchanged pleasantries. When he got to the river, he saw some other fishermen who had also come to check their traps as well. He went straight to his own trap, hoping and praying for a big catch, but unfortunately, that was not the case. He was disappointed to see a very little fish caught in his trap. It is one of those days, he said. He took the fish out of the trap and battled with the thought of letting it back into the river or going back with it. It was just a very tiny, beautiful fish. What will I possibly do with this? He asked himself. But then again, let me appreciate this little so that God will bless me with a much bigger catch tomorrow. Juma kept the fish in his fishing baskets and walked to his kin. The other fishermen were complaining about not catching anything at all. It seems like all the fish have gone on a trip, one of them said. After casting his net a few times without catching anything, Juma decided to go home. Just a few steps away from the riverbank, he heard a voice. Please put me back into the river, good man. Don't take me home with you. Spare me, and I will grant you as many wishes as you would have. He looked around, and he didn't see anyone. He tried to move, and again, that voice came again, louder this time. Please put me back into the river, good man. Don't take me home with you. Please spare me. I will grant you as many wishes as you would have. It then dawned on him that it was the fish. He looked into his basket and the fish continued. I am a princess fish. We came to this part of the river for a royal meeting. This is why the other fish had to move to the other part of the river. Please let me go and I will grant you whatever you ask for. Juma thought for a while and said, I have no wishes. I live with my pregnant wife and we are fine as we are. But I will let you go because you asked. The princess fish was very, very happy. Thank you so much, good man. I would forget this favor. Whenever you need anything, come back here. This same time, any day, call me out and I'll be here to grant you your wishes, as many as you have. She said as she disappeared into the river. When Juma got home, he told his wife about it, and she became very, very angry. Oh, you think I'm comfortable? What sort of house is this we live in? Because I haven't been complaining, you think I'm okay? Go back and tell the princess fish that we need a big house, or I will leave your house and never return. The next day, Juma went to the river at the same time the princess fish had told him. Princess fish, he called. I have come to make a wish. My wife has asked that I wish for a big house. Oh, good man, the princess fish replied. Your wish has been granted. Go back home and you will see your wife in your beautiful big house, and come back whenever you need anything else. Juma hurried back home and saw his wife in a beautiful big house, and they were happy all day. The next day though, the wife said, my husband, such a big house as ours should have very big and expensive things in it. See, the things we have in this house do not complement this house. Please, go back to the princess fish and say we want very big and expensive property in our house. Juma set out to the river the next day at the same time the princess fish had asked him to come. Princess fish, he called out. I have come to make another wish. My wife has asked that I wish for big and expensive properties in our new house. Oh, good man, the princess fish replied. Go home, for your wish has been granted. He got home and really, his wish was granted. The next day, the wife went to him and complained about her dresses and her jewelry. They're no longer complimenting our status, she said. Juma went again to the princess fish and it was granted. The next day, she complained about not having security guards. We have so many expensive things in this house and thieves may want to come and rob us, she said. Again, the princess fish granted this wish. The next day, she complained that the guards were too thin and had tiny legs. What can these ones possibly do? Go and wish for very strong and hefty guards, she said. Yet again, it was granted. It went on, and she asked for practically everything. And then, one day, she went to her husband. Now that we have everything, and we are richer than everyone in this village, including the king, go to the princess fish and tell her that you deserve to be the king. Juma was not happy at all. The king is a good man, but if it would make her happy, I'll go. Juma went to the princess fish the next day, and the moment he made his wish known, the princess fish became very angry. I've had to tolerate you and your vain wife for too long. I've given you everything you asked for, but I can see that you are never satisfied. Now, go back to your wretched house and remain as poor as you were with your wife. Juma hurried home to see his wife in their old house. They regretted everything they did. I should never have been so vain, the wife cried. Kids, that's the end of today's story. It was a very interesting story, and as you've heard, it is based from an African context. And the lesson for today's story that I have learned is that you should not be greedy. You should be satisfied with the little that you have. So, see you next week for yet another story and fun lessons. Bye!